Welcome back to 8 Cubes. I'm KMBest. He's Lamby Series. Neither of us are wearing glasses. We look identical. As always, we talk about the 8 most important topics in Marvel Snap, starting with the new Gambit Horseman of Death card. 3/3 objective. Play 5 total cost of created cards. When you play 5 total cost of created cards, destroy 4 cost of your opponent's board. Randomly selected. 4 total cost. So a 1 and a 3, a 2 and a 2, a 4. Randomly selected, just fully picked that way. This card seems quite threatening to me, depending on what they mean by 5 total cost of created cards. And by the time the card comes out, we'll know it. But there's just a bunch of interactions where it's like, what do you mean by play 5 total cost of created cards? If I Quinjet something, does it count as the original cost of that card? If I Valentina something, does it count as a 6-drop? If I Iron Patriot something, is it the original cost of that card, or is it the actual energy that I'm spending? My best guess is that Valentina, Iron Patriot, things of that nature do work, which means that I expect this card to be an absolute monster, an absolute crusher of early game dreams. If you're playing like a show loud deck where you're like, here are my guys, and like, oh, even my kitty pride's jumping back to hand. Look at the way I'm building up my board. You're not building up your board. Your board goes away. It doesn't happen anymore. If you're playing an Invisible Woman deck, yeah, she's probably going to die. Like, there's a lot that this card does that seems particularly strong to me. And even if it's not, the way I envision it being strong being, I trigger this on like turn 4 and blow up half your early game. It's also just like a solid Gambit in the late game. Solid Hail Mary if you want to play this on 6, having already completed the quest. Card seems quite powerful to me.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna start with the funny thing first. So I read this wrongly at the start when I was looking at the card. I was like, you need to play 5 created cards, and I was like, this card is impossible. Then I realized it's actually 5 cost total, and then I realized it's insane, right? Like you mentioned all the things you could blow up. You could blow up like 1 + 3, 2 + 2, 4 + 0, you could blow up a wasp or whatever, but I mean, you get my point. And the funny thing is, it's insane versus some very specific decks that have low cost, high power, like scalers, right? For example.
Yes,
Can
it's
you imagine the mid
anti-scalar.
range? Can you imagine it blows up a Batroc, a double digit Batroc?
Yes.
Heck, that's a bit extreme, but if it blows up a hood, you're happy, man. If it blows up
A
the
demon.
demon from the
Yeah.
hood.
But like,
Demon
no,
from the
you
hood, you're
like you
super
talk about the
happy.
scalars. That's what this is good against, right? Like, oh, I'm playing
Yes.
Sam Wilson, Batroc, Craven. Guess what?
Bye
2 of
bye.
those things are dying. 2 of those
It's
things are
insane.
dying. The game is over. We're done. Like,
Yeah,
it is
it's
actually, we're done
It's a
here.
3/3 that could remove like double digits of power. I think this guy's insane, man. The
I
more
think
I
it's
talk
quite
about it, like,
interesting. Yeah, like it seems like a really
yeah.
crazy card. There is unfortunately like, well, I guess fortunately maybe,
Like, where
a
do we
sort of
fit this, right?
probably played in V hand, right? Like that seems logical to me, but like there is sort of a built-in like, I think this card is going to come out and people are going to be like, holy shit, this is so broken, right? But
Mhm.
there's like some pretty clear stuff you can do to not care about this. And most
Okay.
of that is just like play a deck that does combo stuff from hand. Like,
Mhm.
okay, you know, it's cool that you blew this stuff up, but I don't care. You know, like I played a Jim Hammond and a Luna Snow, right? If you blow those up, that's fine. I'm still Starlord comboing. Like, go ahead, man. You got it, right? Like it's one of those things where a turn 5 Starlord, this card does nothing to. Like, if
Yeah.
you're just skipping for 5, you just don't do anything about that. Ramp decks, even, it's like, oh, you blew up my Electro, God forbid. And then you, like, play a War Machine, and it's like, I don't care, right? Like, where are the points coming from in a deck like this? Because, you know, Valentina's fine. You know, Valentina, this in 4 cost 6 seems pretty strong, but then you're like, okay, it's like turn 5. Where are the rest of my points? Like, what am I doing here? Because maybe I got like a Misery Hood, and maybe I got like a V-Hand Frigga. That kind of stuff seems plausible, right? But I just think that like there is sort of a built-in out to this, which is to say, if you're doing this, I mean, you probably lose to every deck playing Magic. Like, just period. And then you probably lose to like decks that are just willing to like ramp and go bigger than you. It's very low to the ground, but it counters other things that are low to the ground.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably fit this in like some mid-range point shell yourself, and then those mid-range point shells run Merlin, so you eliminate a bit of the magic problem. But yeah, I'm very interested to see where this one lands because I think the card is good.
Yeah, this and Iska were the cards in my review, I was like, this is like a 4.5-star card. Those are the two that I called out. And right now, I feel good about that. I feel like I am going to be vindicated in this. Next up is the other card that I said was a 4.5-star card. Iska is pretty much bang on a 4.5-star card. Like I think people are acting a little bit. They were acting like she's a 5. She's a pretty good card. She's like this solid, reasonable, powerful card. I think she's quite strong. I don't necessarily think she's like, oh my god, this is the scariest thing in the world. She is one of several potent strategies, but I'm impressed at the ability that she's shown to show up in multiple decks. It's not just all in Invisible Woman stuff, even though I do suspect that is probably the strongest way to go about this. The versions of Doom 2099 with her in it, although I do think she's maybe card 11 or 12 in those decks. The Aurora deck really loves her because that deck just doesn't have a lot of points and it just likes having a card that can win lanes. So there's a lot to be said for Iska. I think she's just hit at a very high rate, just a really good card that has come in and been undeniably the star of the 3 cards that was released in the first week of the season.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk a bit about Golden Gauntlet more later, but like this card was quite heavily represented for a new card in Golden Gauntlet, and I think that's a really good sign, right? Yeah, I was casting the thing as well, and I saw quite a few Iskas in play. I got to see it live very often. Yeah, it did a lot of work, right? Like Iska did a lot of work. Like even as a standalone, normally you combo it with a few cards, but like as a standalone as well, this card landed really well, and I think that's really good, right? Like obviously we can talk about like what didn't land really well like later, but this card impressive first week for sure.
Yeah, and there was a bit of a like, there is a little thing going on with her where it's like, okay, are we sure she's actually good here? Like the Doom 2099 stuff, I'm not convinced she's better than like another 3-drop. I'm not convinced she's not, but I'm not convinced she is. The Aurora stuff, I'm convinced, yeah, that's a good thing for the Aurora deck to have access to. The Invisible Woman stuff, yeah, that's awesome. I love that. She's probably going to be like a card that makes it into Doom 2099, but I'm just a little less sure in that specific case because of how crowded the 4-drop slot can be in that deck. But largely, this is just a card that is flat out good, that has upside that is technically nearly uncapped and unlimited. Just a really powerful card that does really powerful stuff while still being interactable with in really notable ways. It's exactly what a good card should be in ways that like cards like Sholau and Starlord were not. And Sabanur is not good. That's where we're at on this. Like this guy is, I sort of conceptualize him as, if you're not interested in a 4/8 Lockjaw, you're probably not interested in Sabanur. I will say the one interesting thing I've seen people doing with him is putting him in Wiccan decks, which just have no bad things for him to go get. I saw this with the Wiccan version of Afflict, and I was like, okay, that makes sense, but there's a lot of other good 4s. So someone finished 16th in Golden Gauntlet with like that same concept, but the Darkhawk package instead. A lot less competition at 4. I can actually see him meaningfully being there. It's just, it's Darkhawk, right? It's Darkhawk Wiccan, right? Like that, like that's what we're talking about. And it's like, I don't think this guy's strong enough to centralize an archetype around himself. He's barely strong enough to be a competing or like alternate piece in a deck that isn't very good. And that's just sort of what he is.
This card I saw him played a bit in the Golden Gauntlet as well. Like they played it in Thanos as well. I think it's okay there as well. Yeah. But like I said, right, it's okay only. It's like another kind of lockjaw, and it's a very worse blink. I think being very worse blink is also the problem. Because the thing about blink is it's super targeted and you can literally build around it. You can't exactly build around and Sabanur. It's just like in the deck to maybe high roll a bit, you know, in a deck that could fit him. Firstly, it's like you could play this card. And the second thing is you need to high roll, even if you could play this card. Whereas for blink, it's like, all right, I built a whole deck around this and it could just win games. So there's a very big difference.
Yeah, it's not far enough from Lockjaw to be a blink, right? Like on the spectrum from Lockjaw to blink, like if Lockjaw's a 0 and blink is 100, this guy's like a 5. And it's like, okay, congratulations on being better than Lockjaw. I'm proud of you. We might be about to do our fastest segment of all time. Okay. Juggernaut, Horseman of War, conditional 2/8 is like a card you'll see is like a complementary role in like some Thanos decks, maybe some like what really sucks about this card. I'll tell you, this is not going to be a short segment because I just remembered this. This card does not get buffed by Aurora. And I've been like, they should let it get buffed by Aurora. They should let that happen. And someone asked the team, like, hey, do you guys plan on making Aurora buff objectives? And Glenn answered, no, Aurora is not supposed to buff every card. We're not going to go back to update Aurora. So he dumped on my dream and also potentially on this card's playability. Because if I could play this card in Aurora decks and have it be useful, I'd be super into it. Like, I really don't think this card is bad. It's just unexciting. In a very combo-oriented world, this card is fair stats that don't leverage priority, that you can't even play in the one deck that wants fair stats desperately, and that's Super Giant. So it's just homeless.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't really have anything to add on this card. It didn't do anything. It didn't do anything in the week that it released. Completely overshadowed by Iska, still overshadowed by Sabanur, even though it might just be a little bit. Yeah, this card, I guess, kind of did on arrival.
It's indicative of, like, if you wanted me to have like a take about it, I would say it's indicative of where Marvel Snap is at, that a 2/8 just kind of sucks. Like,
Yeah,
this is like a pretty free 2/8 considering. Like, I think there's a world where, like, in a few months we come back to this guy and we're like, I treated you too harshly. But right now, I think he's being the appropriate amount of harshly treated. A friend of ours, W, won the Golden Gauntlet with Super Giant. W, I should mention, is one of 5 active members of my alliance, which is named the Unction. It's nice to see a fellow Unk out there doing well. W's been around for an extremely long time. Like, W's a player who was playing when Lamby was seriously playing this game. Like, it's been a while, right? Like,
it's from my era, literally.
Yes. And so it's obviously nice to see him win, but the way in which he did it with the Super Giant list, I think is really notable. Like, it's an impressive display of game knowledge and mechanics to take a list that requires so much of you. And sort of what I later learned was he pivoted to it like 3 or 4 days before the tournament. Was like, this just covers a lot of stuff. So it's worth talking about like what Super Giant covers. Super Giant on 4 is quite good against the Starlord deck. It's very good, I would argue, against the Starlord deck. One of the best things you can do if someone is playing a dedicated Starlord deck. It is at least halfway good against the Sholau deck. It's not great. It's not fully turning it off, but it is at least better than other things can be against the Sholau list. In addition, it is extremely good against Iska. And that is sort of the trifecta of things you expect to see when you come into a tournament like this, which makes it a very clever decision from W, because he's a control player. He's just looking for coverage against everything he can get. And Super Giant is the closest thing to having coverage against everything you're going to play. There's not a lot of like hard counters outside of specifically the Starlord bit, but there's a lot of soft counters where it's like, okay, I half countered the Sholau, and then I read either where the Sholau is in Cosmo that lane, or where the card they're going to buff is in Negasonic that lane, and then I have countered the Sholau, right? There's no one card counter, but there's a lot of like 2 or 3 card counters that blow up a lot of decks in here. Another thing that his deck does is between Electra and Mercury, you're just really good into the Batroc lists. Like, just a bunch of stuff that you are naturally good into, you naturally have coverage against. A lot of the time when good players look to have coverage against everything, it's a little harder to do, but in this case, I think his metagame read was quite solid.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, W is like, let me explain how OG he is. He was around the same time of like myself, Torikun, Moyen, that batch of pre-Conquest existing. Conquest didn't exist. We were already there that long ago, like 2023, early 2023, that kind of thing. So firstly, congratulations, man. I'm very proud and very happy. Representing the old guys. But yeah, at the same time, his deck is something that I wouldn't say will work for everyone, but you really have to have a very like strong read on the meta game. Like, it's not like a deck with a lot of power. When you go check out the list, you'll understand. It's not like a super powerful deck, but it's a super like, if I know you're gonna do this, I can beat you by doing this deck. And he basically made the right reads for like definitely more than wrong reads. That's what he won, right? So he did well. Like, he brought a deck that was very skill intensive and very like dependent on reading where your opponent's gonna play stuff, and he succeeded. So congratulations, man.
It's pure Marvel Snap. That finals is one of the best. I don't think I've ever seen a better finals. Like, honest to God, I don't think I've ever seen it. Like, from both players, it was just extremely high level mind games and reads. Really, really clever. So, something interesting happened in this tournament. There were only 2 Sholau decks in the top 16. And I have a theory on this because I went and looked at the breakdown. Sholau had a lot of people playing it, but not as many as you'd think. It was like 80 out. This is like under 10% of the field, I want to say. Maybe a little over 10% of the field. Maybe 10 to 15. But of that group, about 30 of those people were playing the Sizer Werewolf build, which isn't a Sholau deck. Like, it's a deck that has Sholau in it, but you're not doing Maverick or anything like that. It's just not a Sholau deck. It's like a deck that has Sholau for stats, right? 7 people were playing the ongoing Sholau list that I pretty much think is the best deck in the game. One of them finished in the top 8, losing to W in the top 8. 2 more finished at 5-1 that I know of. I haven't gone back and checked the rest. I worry that it's pretty easy talking point to be like, wow, there were only 2 Sholaus in the top 16. The deck must be fine. I'm concerned that it was a deck choice issue and not that the card is fine.
Yeah. So for my perspective, this week I was actually in a lot of your streams. Those of you that stream, I was in your streams. You just didn't know. I was in a lot of your streams, watching and like learning the meta and like making very critical assessments of stuff. So I saw this Sizer deck. It's a playable deck, but the problem is it's what this deck is basically it's a deck that's trying to counter everything, and then you put a Shaolao in the deck. So the actual Shaolao like potential is very low in the deck, but there's a lot of counters in the deck. So the problem with that is that like you don't maximize on what Shaolao does best, which is your Maverick Shaolao interaction, which is it's not unbeatable, but it probably ends most games, right? The whole Maverick Shaolao interaction. So the ongoing one, which I saw, I did see Browde play it.
Yeah.
That one when I saw, I was like, okay, this one is powerful, man. So like I think KM is right in the sense that like maybe it's the kind of Shaolao that they brought to the tournament, because you're trying to do too many things in a Shaolao deck. If you try and counter everything, you're trying to do too many things. You pivot away from like Maverick Shaolao, which is the most power that is in a Shaolao deck, right? So when you do that, you kind of lose a bit of the potential of why the deck was good. So maybe too much cooking and then like not enough like realization that you need to play Maverick Shaolao and then play the good version of it. So that's probably what happened. Because I really do think that after watching so much and like looking at the game right now, Shaolao really is a form of Shaolao really is the best deck in the game. Maybe now it's the ongoing one. Maybe in the future, if Shaolao is still Shaolao, it will be another kind of Shaolao. But like Shaolao really is the best like end game in the game right now.
If you asked me what I'm supposed to do to counter the ongoing Sholau list, I just kind of don't have answers for you.
Beat the front part. Don't beat the Sholau. That's what we talked about previously.
It's tough, man. Like I talked with Derek about this, and it was just like, yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about that deck. Like, I don't know. Like, if you were like, I think that everyone in the tournament is gonna bring this deck, I'd be like, I guess I'm bringing the deck because I don't have any good ideas.
This is funny and hilarious because this Derek is someone that like no matter at which point in my Marvel Snap live streaming, playing or whatever, Derek always comes into my stream with an answer to something. Like he was like, I have this deck build that can do this. But the fact that he says he has no idea.
No, we had this conversation today. He was like, I don't know, man. Like
he always has an answer to something every single time, but this time he's lost. So
it's a tough one. But I will say this: I didn't think I had an answer to Batroc Sholau, and it turns out the answer to Batroc Sholau was ongoing Sholau. Like that is a really bad matchup for Batroc Sholau. It's really bad. So maybe there's another ongoing Sholau out there. Like who can say? It's definitely the kind of thing that I didn't see coming, and I don't, just because I don't see the answer doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Only 2 Starlords in the top 16 as well, although one of them did make it to the finals. I think honestly, I don't know if I want to, like, I kind of think the guy that made it to the finals was just player diffing people. He was amazing. Like, that was just really clean Starlord play. Like, I think he made Starlord negative look better than it is, and I think it's probably the best version of Starlord right now. Because I played a lot of Starlord on my way to Infinite. I'm like rank 50 or something right now. And I basically played nothing but Starlord, looking to figure out, like, can I get a Black Panther in here? Can I get a Cosmic Ghost Rider in here? Am I still playing Legion? Like, what does base Starlord look like if I assume that we've given up on Alioths, right? And it's pretty okay. Because the reason we're giving up on the Eliaths is, we lose too many points off the Starlord. So if we go like Starlord Zola, we probably don't have priority. And then it's like, okay, what's even the point? So now we need to invalidate people with points, and there just isn't another big guy. It's interesting. We might just end up going back to Eliaths. But the point I'm making is what's happened to Starlord is actually very similar to what happened to Shou Lao, in that the points got taken off of it. So now it's importing those points from elsewhere. It's like I need to acquire those points by hybridizing. I'm hybridizing with Mr. Negative. That was already a version of Starlord. Like that deck already existed. It's just the original Starlord deck overshadowed it because it would just Eliath the crap out of all your Mr. Negative stuff. So you'd have a losing matchup there that just doesn't exist anymore. The version of Starlord that is like Firehair stuff, that's doing Firehair Phoenix Force, the Jet version of Starlord. Again, you're importing power from somewhere else. You lost the ability to do your Eliath things, so these other versions of the deck that have additional power from different spaces get better. And that's the big dynamic that I noticed with Starlord, which is not to say that he's not still ridiculous, just that he's in a little bit of a like, who am I phase. He's discovering himself. He's backpacking in Europe or whatever it is people do when they do that.
Yeah, I will say that I want to deviate a little bit away from like the whole only two Starlord in top 16 thing. I want to talk a bit more about specifically one thing which you mentioned, which is the Starlord in negative, making it like the new home thing, which is, so I got to cast a lot of like Starlord negative in the tournament, and I realized that like Starlord really did make Mr. Negative a lot better.
Yeah.
Like the thing is, Mr. Negative has been around since the dawn of time, right? But like, it doesn't really matter how much power late game output you give Mr. Negative. What matters is you make Mr. Negative more consistent, right? And Starlord does that. So this is one of those times whereby you make Mr. Negative not a pure high roll deck because you added another like consistency piece to the deck. So when I saw that, I was like, this is actually kind of scary to play against. Like, Mr. Negative is no longer just like, oh, the high roll I lose, god damn it. It's more like, okay, I think they can do this quite often now.
It's also really hard to snap into.
Exactly.
Because you're like, oh, they missed their Mr. Negative. I'm chilling. And then they Starlord on 5 and you're dead. And you're just like, wait a minute. Hold on.
They play the fair 6 cost stuff on turn 6, but it's with like double the energy, so you still die.
Or like you don't have a location changer and you play Magic. By the way, like I honestly kind of wonder if maybe we should have had a section devoted entirely to Magic, because I think she was one of the most influential cards on this tournament. Magic is naturally good against a couple of things. Naturally good against Shou Lao. They don't scale with an extra turn the way you do. Naturally great against Starlord, which is trying to duplicate itself the turn you can play a Magic, right? It's just naturally good against a lot of stuff. And one of the things that was really holding Magic back was that like half the Starlord decks used to play Legion. And they're not now, and that's quite a good position to be in. If you're going to be a zombie Galacti gamer, that kind of stuff is pretty interesting to me. One of the interesting things about the ongoing version of Shou Lao is that it actually kind of does like seeing Magic. So you can set up the really stupid combo that you can do, which is like, for those unaware, the really stupid version of ongoing Shou Lao is you do Moonstone Ant-Man in the front, you do Maverick in 3rd position, you do Captain Carter in 4th position, and then you Shou Lao the Captain Carter, and then you have the largest Maverick of all time and also the largest lane of all time. And you can't really do that. Like, it's one of the only Shou Lao decks that's like, all right, man, if you want to do that to me, if you want to sit here and Magic me, I have a plan for that. And there's just not a lot of Shou Lao decks that could do that.
Yeah, I do have an interesting point to bring up, which I don't know whether to talk about like previously or like now on the next topic, but I guess it kind of links to the next topic, so it might be a good segue. But so you talked about Magic like being influential in this tournament, and it also like because of the extra turn and Shou Lao not scaling as well as you in the extra turn, right? If you play a Magic deck. So I saw this thing in the Golden Gauntlet, which is there was this player, I can't remember their name, but like they lost 2 consecutive rounds and then got eliminated because double TVA spawned back to back in the locations when they were playing the Shou Lao deck. And Shou Lao that cannot see turn 6 is not a good deck, man. Like they lost to random nonsense people playing cards on curve because the Shou Lao couldn't see turn 6. So I mean, it's beating Shou Lao just hoping you roll TVA. Obviously not, that's not realistic. But like Shou Lao not hitting turn 6 the deck is not good, man. I've seen
Yeah.
it. Like, it's the most impossible to win with that deck if you don't see a turn 6. Anyway, that's just something that I remember.
So I guess with all of this in mind, do we think it's fair to say the meta is good, or is this like a Groundhog Day type thing where we like stick our noses up and then we go back in and it's 6 more weeks of Sholau? Like, where are we at on this? Do we think that like there are meaningful changes that need to be made? Because I came away from that top 16 like, I guess things are kind of fine, right? I do think that Sholau was underrepresented because people brought the wrong Sholau list. I do think that if that list starts percolating, it's going to be a lot harder to deal with. But I also think that like it's probably the hardest Sholau list to play. So maybe it just won't ever actually become a problem for most people. I really wonder, because I think that if the metagame people play against looks like the metagame in the top 8, pretty balanced, pretty reasonable, a lot of different options, a lot of different things that can happen. What do you think?
Well, I honestly, okay, so my impression of this whole thing is very like, because I'm still like living in the like, I remember everything that happened in Golden Gauntlet like mode, right? Starlord negative should be a lot on ladder, man. Like, I'm very impressed with that deck, and like, honestly, I think it's really powerful as well. So that's something people can pivot to if they're bored of Charlotte and still win games. It's not like it happens once in a while. It's actually relatively consistent, right? So that's a deck. Charlotte variants, the ongoing ones, some slightly different variants, is a deck. Iska stuff is a deck. Like, there's stuff to do, right? Like, so I don't think it's gonna be a boring like next, or like very like annoying to play like next 2 weeks or whatever. I think it's gonna be fine. Then the Gambit thing that's coming out, we talked about in the first topic, could spawn a new deck which blows up most early games. If you are playing against a Charlotte deck, is probably gonna play a lot of early game, right? So I think we are fine. I might be a bit influenced, like I said, by like what I saw in Golden Gauntlet and like all that kind of thing. But like, it does feel fine right now, to be honest. Like, variety could still be in the game.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I have been KMBest. He has been Lamby Series, and we will see you in the next one. Lamby, take us out.
All right, guys. Hope you like this one. Comment and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.